I think about that night more than I should. Not because I miss it, not because I regret it, but because it happened so fast and so easily. Like my life just slipped sideways, and I let it. My husband was waiting in the car. I was upstairs at the company's end of year party, already 2 glasses of wine past responsible. The music got louder. The room spun a little. I didn't answer his text. I didn't say goodbye. I just left with someone else. We've been married almost 4 years, together for 6. Safe. That's the word I'd use. Our marriage was safe, predictable, polite, like a nice hotel lobby you walk through every day. Clean, quiet, a little too beige. He's a good man, really. He doesn't drink much, doesn't cheat, always does the dishes. But somewhere in the last year or two, I stopped feeling like a woman in our marriage. I felt like a coworker, like we were running a small domestic business. Dinner plans, laundry, Netflix on the couch, kisses on the cheek. Love you, babe. Sleep repeat. I didn't wake up that morning planning to cheat. I just wanted to feel something. The party was nothing special. Some rooftop bar downtown in Atlanta, free drinks, a DJ pretending it was Miami, everyone pretending to like each other. I wore a dress he once told me was too tight for dinner with my parents. I wore it anyway. I was dancing, laughing too hard, feeling the way I used to. A little loud, a little reckless, a little wanted. And then there was him, Ethan. We'd worked on a few projects together, mostly emails and polite nods, but that night, something changed. A glance that lingered. A joke that landed too deep. That look. The one that says, I know you feel this too. And I did. It was past midnight. People were leaving. Someone had thrown up in the bathroom. I texted my husband. Almost done, heading down soon. He replied, I'm outside. Take your time. Ethan came up behind me, said he was getting some air, asked if I wanted to come with him. I should have said no, but I followed him to the elevator like I'd been asleep for a year and just woke up. I told myself it was nothing. I just needed a breath. I loved my husband. But I didn't stop when Ethan touched my back. Didn't flinch when he leaned in and said, You don't look like you want to go home yet. And I didn't answer my phone, even when it buzzed in my hand. My husband told me later he waited in the car for over 40 minutes. He kept checking the mirrors, thinking maybe I'd come out the front or the side or down the stairs. He even walked around the block just in case. But I was already in another car by then. Black Uber. Ethan had ordered it, opened the door, didn't say a word. I sat there in silence most of the ride, heart pounding, phone still buzzing inside my purse. We went to his apartment. And I'm not giving you the details, not because I'm ashamed, but because what I felt was louder than anything I could describe. Like a version of me that had been dying quietly for years suddenly kicked the door down and screamed, I'm still here. I went home at 6:12 a.m. He was asleep on the couch, jacket still on, the TV playing something soft and pointless. A throw blanket had slipped to the floor. His phone was in his hand. I stood there looking at him. He looked peaceful, like someone who still trusted the world, someone who still trusted me. I took off my heels in the hallway, tiptoed into the bedroom, showered in silence. He didn't ask where I'd been. He never brought it up. We never talked about that night. That became the silent rule between us. No questions, no explanations. I came home, took a shower, made pancakes the next morning like I hadn't just burned down the foundation of our marriage while he waited outside in the cold. He asked me if I had fun. I said, yeah, it was loud. That was it. That was all it took to move on, or pretend to. For the first 2 weeks, I thought I was going to tell him. I thought I'd sit him down at the kitchen table and say it all out loud, make it real, rip the wound open and face whatever came next. I even practiced once, standing in front of the bathroom mirror, whispering, I need to tell you something, just to see how it sounded. But I never did. I'd open my mouth over dinner, thinking this is the moment, and instead I'd say, "Do we have any more almond milk?" So we settled into something familiar. Not comfortable, just familiar. Quiet meals, shared bills, polite kisses, the occasional sex that felt like we were checking a box. He didn't act suspicious. He didn't ask. He didn't even look at me differently. And somehow that made it worse. There's something haunting about being loved without question, when you know you don't deserve it. People always say the guilt will eat you alive, but that wasn't what I felt. Not guilt, power. This sharp, steady hum inside me, like I knew something he didn't. I had stepped outside the boundaries of what he thought I was capable of, and nothing looked the same after that. I could kiss him in the morning, hand him his keys, say, "Have a good day," and know he had no idea who he was really living with. And the scariest part? I didn't hate that version of me. She felt alive, dangerous, unapologetic. I started wearing lipstick again, got my nails done, said no when he asked if I wanted to stay in, started noticing who else noticed me. Sometimes at night, when we lay in bed back to back, I'd wonder if he could feel the difference in the silence between us. Ethan messaged me once, 2 days after the party. Just 6 words. "Hey, you good?" I stared at it for a while. Didn't reply. Not because I felt guilty, but because it already felt like another life. Whatever that night had woken up in me, it had nothing to do with him anymore. He was just the match. The fire was mine. A week later, someone in the office mentioned that Ethan had transferred. No one knew why. No goodbye email, no explanation. Just gone. And me? I stayed. I went home every night, kissed my husband, did the dishes, laughed at TV shows. And all the while, something quiet and ugly sat between us. Not a secret anymore, but a shadow. Something dead and rotting that we both pretended not to smell. Sometimes I still check my phone when I'm out late. Not because I want to leave again, but because part of me wonders if someone's waiting downstairs, just like last time. It started with little things. The way he looked at me across the kitchen, just a second too long. The way his voice dipped when he asked, "You okay?" Like he already knew the answer. At first, I told myself I was just being paranoid, that the guilt was twisting everything, that I was seeing things that weren't there. But then I saw something I couldn't explain away. His laptop was left open one night on the dining table. He'd gone to bed early. I didn't mean to snoop. I didn't even touch it. I just walked past, glanced at the screen, and saw the tab still open. It was a search bar, and it said, "Signs your wife is cheating but won't admit it." I stood there in the dark for a long time, the fridge humming behind me, the screen glowing in front of me. I didn't feel panic. I didn't feel shame. I felt exposed. Like I'd been walking around naked in a room I thought was empty, and someone had been standing in the corner the whole time, just watching. I closed the laptop gently, walked to the bathroom, locked the door, and sat on the edge of the tub until my heart stopped pounding. I didn't say anything the next morning. I didn't ask, and he didn't bring it up. I just started pretending harder. I made his favorite breakfast. I kissed him on the neck while he shaved. I laughed a little too loud at things that weren't funny. He didn't pull away, but there was something different in the way he looked at me, like he was trying to find something that used to be there. A few days later, I noticed something else. The cabinet under the sink in the guest bathroom was open. It's always closed. We don't even use that bathroom. I went over and saw my old phone sitting inside, tucked behind a box of half-used shampoo bottles and dust. The phone I thought I'd lost months ago. It was charged, turned on. I picked it up, unlocked it, and saw nothing. No recent messages, no calls. Just one draft, saved but never sent. It said, "I know what you did." Why? I put the phone back where I found it, closed the cabinet, washed my hands even though I didn't need to. That night we had pasta for dinner. He asked if I wanted wine. I said yes. When I reached to clear the table, our fingers touched. He looked up at me and smiled. And it wasn't a warm smile or a forgiving one. It was the kind of smile you give someone when you already know what they've done, and you've decided to live with it anyway. We never talked about the phone. We never talked about the search history. We never talked about anything real, but we both knew. There was a new silence between us, not cold, not angry, just loaded, like a room with a gas leak waiting for a spark. He started staying late at work. I stopped asking why. He changed his phone password. I noticed, but didn't mention it. He started going to the gym again, not casually, but intentionally. New shirts, a new playlist, fresh cologne. The kind you wear when someone else is going to be close enough to notice. I downloaded Tinder, not to meet anyone. I never swiped right. I didn't even use my real name. I just wanted to see if I still existed outside this house. If anyone would still look at me like I was interesting. I stared at strangers' faces and imagined being someone else, living someone else's life. It didn't make me feel better, but it kept me from feeling nothing. One night he came home late and smelled like someone else's shampoo. He didn't say a word about where he'd been. I didn't ask. He kissed me on the forehead, asked if I wanted sushi. I said sure. We were polite, careful, like roommates with a shared secret. And honestly, we were doing better than we had in months. We laughed more, touched more, had people over, posted photos. People commented how happy we looked. Power couple, one of them said. And I smiled, heart sinking as I typed back a thank you. On our anniversary, we went to the same restaurant we always do. He wore the navy shirt I got him 2 years ago. I wore a dress I hadn't worn since before everything broke. We ordered the same food, sat in the same booth, took the same photo, smiled the same smiles. Halfway through dessert, he reached across the table, held my hand and said, "We're good, right?" I looked at him and said, "Yeah, we're good." But we weren't. We were quiet performers in a show we didn't believe in anymore. We weren't healing. We weren't forgiving. We were surviving, keeping the peace, holding the story together with duct tape and closed mouths. I still loved him, but not the way I used to. I loved who we had been once, in another life. And I think he loved that version of us too. The ones we pretended to be in pictures. People think cheating ends things, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it just rewrites the script and you both keep acting like the play isn't over. It happened on a Sunday, one of those quiet, normal, sunny days when everything feels like it's supposed to. Coffee, laundry, music in the background. We decided to clean out the garage. His idea. "Let's finally get rid of all the old stuff," he said. And I agreed, like it was just another chore on a shared to-do list. We worked for a while without talking much, sorting boxes, tossing junk. Then I found one that made me stop. Wedding things. A shoebox with our vows. A few Polaroids from the reception. A dried flower taped to the inside of a notebook I hadn't seen in years. I pulled out a photo. One where we were laughing, champagne in my hand, his arm around me like it belonged there. I must have stared at it too long because he looked over and said, "I miss them." I blinked. "Who?" He didn't hesitate. "Us. The people we were in that photo. I miss them." I didn't say anything, just sat down on the garage floor like the air had shifted. He sat too, hands resting on his knees, head down. Then softly, "I know something happened." My chest tightened, but I didn't panic, because this wasn't new. He'd always known. He just never said it out loud until now. "I think I've been trying not to say it," he continued, "because if I do, then I have to decide what to do about it." I still didn't speak. He wasn't angry. He wasn't crying. He sounded like someone who had finally given up on pretending he wasn't tired. "I didn't plan it," I said quietly, like saying it quieter would make it less true. "I didn't go looking for it. He nodded, not surprised. I figured. Then he looked at me for a long time. Do you still love me? I didn't answer right away. I looked back at the photo still in my hand, at the two people who had no idea what was coming. Yes, I said, but I don't know if that's enough anymore. He didn't nod. He didn't speak. We just sat there, in the middle of old boxes and broken furniture and dust, breathing the same air, but not really together anymore. We didn't split that day. No big fight, no suitcase by the door, no yelling. But something ended. That was clear. By the end of the week, he brought up the idea of taking space, a trial separation, just to think. I said okay. He packed quietly, took his clothes, his laptop, a few books. The dog followed him to the door, confused. He hugged me before he left. Not quick, not emotional, just long, like two people holding on to something that wasn't coming back. It's been 3 months. I'm still in the house. He's staying with his brother. We text sometimes, about bills, about the dog, about nothing. We haven't talked about us, and I don't know if we will. Maybe we'll drift until it quietly ends. Maybe one of us will finally say, I can't do this anymore. Maybe we'll stay legally married for another year, out of habit, and just become people with shared Wi-Fi and paperwork. Sometimes I still think about the elevator. Not about Ethan. Not even about the sex. Just the moment. The moment I stepped inside and let the door close behind me. That one tiny decision that changed everything. People think the worst part of cheating is the guilt, but it's not. It's the knowing. The knowing that you'll never again be who you were before that moment. And neither will they.